Dr. Guth is on the phone. Public comment hearing session. Right. Adjourn to closed session. Session. Sam will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
We're back in open session.
Okay.
Report on action taken in closed session. There was no action taken. Call for an adoption of the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, programs and presentations. Presentation, COVID-19 operations written report.
This is a presentation for the 2020 LCAP COVID-19 operations written report in lieu of the LCAP that typically would occur, but waivers were given to allow it to be an operations written report, which is going to be presented. So the report has 5 questions that needed to be answered by the district. Each response could not exceed 300 words. It's to be presented to the board in the same meeting that the budget is approved. And the district will be submitting to RCOE by July 1st. So we needed to note the changes to program offerings. So Palo Verde Unified School District is offering distance learning to its approximately 2,800 students as a result of school closures. PVUSD serves 5 breakfasts and 5 lunch meals to the students of Palo Verde Valley each week, allowing students to receive meals at school sites or at regular bus stops. School closures have impacted students and family in several ways. Students are not able to access high-quality instruction. Students are not all receiving hot meals, and families do not have the consistency of a set daily school schedule on campus. And this is referring to the experience of students during the school closures for the spring of 2020. So meeting needs of English learners, foster youth, and low-income students. Homeroom teachers or high school 5th period teachers are contacted each family through telephone and or web conferencing. They checked on families, and some families have multiple students in the same household, and some identified as foster youth. Teachers explained the enrichment program. Teachers asked parents about their access to a device, internet accessibility, and the PVUSD website. PVUSD has requested phones for foster youth families. Teachers inform parents they will receive activity packets at lunch, drop-offs. Teachers contact families weekly by telephone and web conferencing to touch base, resolve issues, and provide resources. English learners receive their enrichment packets in their primary language. Teachers provide English learner support via online learning format and through email. Low-income students receive supportive phone calls from the outreach counseling staff, and they also receive instructional support from teachers via the online learning format and through email. So the next question was regarding delivering high-quality distance learning opportunities. Palo Verde Unified School District has adopted a grading policy that holds students harmless for their grades from spring 2020 before the school closure order. Students are given opportunity to complete learning packets which can be used to support their grades and learning. Teachers are contacting their students and families regularly to check on the families and provide educational support. Grade level or department, teacher, and office staff copied the learning packets and provided them to the students with the grab-and-go meal served. The learning packets were also available in the school offices for families. Teachers provide support for students working on their learning packets through Google Classroom and online learning format and through email. The district academic coach provided online professional development to teachers to allow them to better meet the instructional needs of their students. Providing school meals, maintaining social distancing practices. Palo Verde Unified School District serves weekday breakfast and lunch to students through 18. Meals are served 3 days a week, with Tuesday and Thursday servings, including meals on Wednesdays and Fridays. Meals are served at school sites and delivered along regular bus routes. Adults wear personal protective equipment. Families are asked to observe social distancing when they are receiving their meals. And so lastly, supervision of students during ordinary hours. This was when the school closures were in effect due to public health orders. So Palo Verde Unified School District understands that the school closures are a health issue and firmly believes that providing supervision of students during school closures cannot be accomplished without risking the health of the students and adults involved. PVUSD offers information to parents as requested about local child care options. So these were the 5 questions that we were required to submit and how we offered services during the time of the school closures because of the pandemic. Any questions?
Questions? No?
Okay, thank you.
No? All right, thank you. All right. Okay, our hearing session. Our first comment. Good evening. I hope all is well. This is Juan P. Ramirez, Partnership Specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau. Thank you for allowing me to give some updates regarding the 2020 census at tonight's school board meeting. I especially want to thank Ms. Kern, Mr. Sanchez, and the school board for working with the U.S. Census by putting the self-response census link on the district and school websites. This will allow parents another opportunity to help increase the self-response rate and get an accurate count of the families you serve. As of today, Blythe's response rate is at 45.8%. The goal is to have 100% response so that Blythe can receive their fair share of the $675 billion in federal funds and grants each year for the next 10 years. That money is spent on school lunch programs, Title I funds, special education grants, and other vital programs. I would like to remind you of our efforts to continue raising the response rate for Blythe. We will continue to conduct self-response webinars for Blythe residents. The purpose of these webinars is to answer questions regarding the 2020 Census Questionnaire and to have a 100% response rate in Blythe for this decennial. Please continue to encourage everyone to respond online at 2020census.gov, by mail or by phone at 1-844-330-2020 in English or 1-844-468-2020 in Spanish. Please feel free to contact me anytime via email or mobile if you have any questions. Thank you and have a great evening. Juan P. Ramirez, Partnership Specialist. All right. Good evening to the members of the School Board of Palo Verde Unified School District. This will be my last report as president of the Palo Verde Teachers Association. It has been an honor to represent my colleagues, and I hope I have given them a voice for the benefit of our students, our district, our community, and our profession. As I turn the leadership over to Britt Laredo, PVTA President, and her executive board, I hope the Board of Trustees, the PVUSD District Administration, and Palo Verde Teachers Association will continue to collaborate closely. As we entered into the pandemic and our first ever school closures, PVUSD and PVTA formed a deeper alliance to our students through regular communication. This needs to continue as we now face the challenges of reopening schools. Teachers have the benefits in this district of living in the same communities as our students. We are aware of the social emotional needs of our students and families on a personal level because we are a part of this community of Blythe. Unlike other districts, our teachers share the same challenges of internet instability and community isolation. Because of our unique perspective unknown in other communities, we can provide ideas and strategies that can shape a plan toward the reopening of school for the 2020-2021 school year. Take advantage of our knowledge and include our voice in your reopening task force. Our teachers are dedicated to our students' safety and well-being in ways that online learning companies cannot hope to understand. We interact with our students in the community at Smart and Final, Albertsons, and other community events and places as they reopen. We are the best at reaching our students. If online learning needs to be an option for PVUSD students in the future, then give our local teachers the tools and training to be this online source. Our students are our students. By developing new protocols, procedures, and training with PVTA, PVUSD will be able to reach our students through use of its own contracted teachers. Again, communication and collaboration can make this happen. I, as a member of PVTA, look forward to the challenge of 2020-2021 school year. I want to see the completion of our district building projects, the evolution of teaching in the district with our teachers and students, and have the pride of knowing that PVTA had a shared hand in growing our future in the lives of our students. Thank you to PVTA and PVUSD for the opportunity to serve. Stephanie Reinecke. Reports and communications. Board member report. Sunny?
I have nothing to report.
Sam?
Nothing report.
Martha? Dr. Guth? And I have nothing to report. Superintendent's report, Ms. Kern?
I want to acknowledge Steve Gutierrez, Coordinator of Nutrition Services, for securing a No Kid Hungry grant for our school district of $20,000. Really appreciate his efforts so that we can provide food services continuity. And a portion of the grant was generously donated by Albertsons as well. All I have.
Reports of associations. PVTA. Good evening, administrators and board members. I hope you are all healthy and staying safe. As the summer approaches, most teachers have begun their summer break. However, we do have some members ready to tackle our summer school programs beginning tomorrow. With the uncertainty of what exactly school will look like in the new school year, we are looking forward to working closely with the district to come up with the best solutions, keeping in mind our priority, the safety and emotional well-being of our students, teachers, and other staff members. We understand that right now there are many more questions than answers, and opening up for the next school year will require flexibility by all involved. As the district has now submitted their sunshine proposal to the board this evening, we look forward to sitting down with them and coming up with a fair agreement. I am positive that together we will come up with what is best for the district. As I step into this new role of PVTA president, I'm looking forward to representing the members of PVTA and maintaining a positive working relationship with the district. Thank you. Britt Laredo, PVTA president. Consent items. Items listed under the consent calendar motions are considered to be routine and are acted on by the governing board in one motion. There is no discussion of these items prior to the board vote unless a member of the board requests specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent agenda. It is understood that administration recommends approval of all consent items. Each item on the consent agenda approved by the governing board shall be deemed to have been considered in full and adopted as recommended. Martha will read the consent items.
L1 minutes. L2 personal report, number 2019-20-19. L3 sunshine proposal, PVUSD initial proposal to Teamsters 1. L4 sunshine proposal, PVUSD initial proposal to PVTA. L5 sunshine proposal, PVUSD initial proposal to CSEA. L6 proposal of 2020-21 Bertronics annual maintenance agreement for the district risograph machine. L7 approval of 2020-2021 North Systems Inc. annual maintenance agreement. L8 approval of 2020-2021 contract between Palo Verde Head Start and Catapult K-12. L9 ratification of regular school business.
Thank you. Call for a motion?
Second.
L9 on the consent agenda.
All in favor? Aye. All right, our action items. M1, public hearing, the 2020-2021 budget. Hearing opened at 6:30. Those wishing to make a public comment may do so at this time. Mr. Sanchez?
Good evening, Board, Superintendent, and community. I am here to present the 2021 adopted budget report. The objective of the report is to communicate financial certification, although I don't believe RCOE is going to certify our budget at this time. We'll look at criterion standards focusing on areas not met, look at challenges and pressures to the budget, look at some multi-year projections, talk a little bit about the debt, look at attendance, ongoing priorities, and then take any questions or comments, should there be any at the end. Again, I don't believe RCOE is issuing the budget certifications at this time. I believe that's going to occur at first interim, and mostly that's because there was a lot of uncertainty in this year's budget process. We were receiving information, changing information, I think, was the biggest, kind of hurdle with developing the budget. And so because everything was moving so rapidly, I believe we'll get our certification with the first interim submission. So it gives us some time to react to everything that's happening at the state level. But this budget, as it stands, if it were to get a certification, it would be qualified. And it's qualified because the district, we can meet our financial obligations in 2021. We're okay in 21-22. We end with about $230,000. 22-23 becomes a problem for the district, and we will end with about a $4 million deficit if everything holds steady. Some considerations for this budget is the assumptions include a negative 2.31 COLA in 2021 and 0% COLAs in 2021-22 and 22-23. We know now that information has changed. We expect a flat COLA. So it's not as dismal as when we were initially projecting. The other thing to note about this budget is that it includes one-time funds. We have about $1.9 million budgeted in learning loss mitigation, and I believe that is a conservative number. The actual revenue will probably come in higher. We also expect to receive $846,668 in ESSER funds to support the COVID-19 response. So some of the funds, the one-time funds, are related to learning loss, trying to find a new way to adapt to the instructional program that we're to offer next year. And then the other portion of those funds are to do the things that will keep our schools safe, ordering additional cleaning supplies, PPE equipment, that kind of stuff. This budget, at least as projected, also includes a 10% cut to transportation funding. It has deficit spending in each projected budget year, $2.297 million in the first year, $2.91 in year two, and then $4.29, almost $4.3 in the last year. And I am pleased to report that debt service payments are eliminated from this budget. We closed on the bond today. Yeah, it was very successful. And we've set up an escrow account to pay off our COPs. I believe the capital lease for the energy management we can just pay off, but we've set that aside in an escrow fund as well. And we, about a week ago, noticed the County of Riverside that we will vacate this building in December. So because of all that great work, we do not have to put anything related to debt into the budget. So that is the one positive in that list of items there. For criterion standards, the areas not met are, we had, I think in 1 year we overestimated the enrollment by more than the standard. So we thought we were going to end up with more kids than we actually got. That's all that's saying. I don't think that's been a consistent issue. I think it was in one of the 3 years. The ADA to enrollment is inconsistent with historical ratios. But I'm going to push back on that. We're budgeting right at about the 95% range for ADA. And I think what they're referring to is the real number of students who are attending. That is declining just because we have declining enrollment. So by virtue, our our attendance is going to decline. But with that said, the attendance teams are doing a pretty effective job of, trying to hold, particularly at the elementary level, our attendance in a nice stable range. The projected change in LCFF revenue is not within the standard, and remember, this budget has a negative 2 point, some odd COLA. So I think I projected, we had at, well, I'll get there, but we're projecting like over $2 million less than what we would have received last year. Same thing with operating revenues; they're not within the standard. But there's a lot of funny behavior going on in this year's budget. You're going to see huge increases to materials and supplies, huge increases to capital equipment, or that and services, and it's kind of the knee-jerk reaction to the COVID environment. We're having to totally, rework our educational program, look at new ways of cleaning, so you're going to see a reflection of that behavior in the budget. Same thing with operating. I think that's where I left off. Operating expenditures, and then lastly, the available reserves do not meet the minimum requirements in the final year. We're good in year 1. We're good in year 2. It's when we hit year 3 that you'll see a significant shortfall in our reserves. Challenges and pressures to the budget. We are using, in this particular budget round, we're using one-time revenues for ongoing expenditures, and that's mostly related to the COVID. We're watching that closely, and we will shift when the funds expire. What we're doing is we have activities that go above our base, where we likely would have had to cut them given the budget environment that we're going into, but because of the federal dollars that came in, we were able to save some of that work, and we moved the funding into those one-time federal dollars. And like I said, as the funds expire, we will be shifting those people back out and likely into the zero resource or supplemental concentration, something like that. Contributions from unrestricted resources to restricted resources, they're continuing to increase in some areas. As I stated, transportation had a 10% hit, so we had to increase the contribution a little bit there. We have unsettled salary and benefit negotiations for both the classified and certificated employees. One of the contracts hasn't yet expired, but we have reopeners, and the reopeners have to do with salary and benefits. So that's going to be a conversation that we're going to want to watch closely as the year progresses. There are significant levels of uncertainty related to the COVID-19 response needs. That's making me a little bit nervous with this year's budget as well. We have, as I mentioned just a second ago, we have increased spending in areas of technology, equipment. We have Chromebooks, software licenses. We're buying, some custodial, pieces of custodial equipment. So like I said, we're spending in areas we normally wouldn't be spending in. And then we still have a great deal of uncertainty at the state level with respect to budget cuts, cash deferrals, and other measures taken to offset the COVID-19. The last we heard, like I said, is the COLA funding is going to get held at zero, so that's going to look a little bit better for us. But we are hearing that come spring there will be cash deferrals from the state, meaning that when our April payment is due to us, they will not send our April payment. They're going to push that out to May or June. And so while it does a great deal to protect the budget, the thing we're going to want to watch when we reach those points in time is the cash, making sure that our cash situation is closely monitored, and we're not doling out significant amounts of cash during that time when we're not going to have it coming back into us. So when we get to that point, we'll be watching cash flow. Actually, before then, we're probably going to start monthly watching that very closely to see if our projections are coming in on target. The debt picture, I'm bringing this up here. It's going to stay with us in some respects because the district still does carry debt. We have general obligation bonds, and the COP, the certificates of participation, they're still going to be with us. It's just that the payments don't come from the general fund anymore. The bond debt had always come from the property taxes and the taxpayers, and what we've done in this last round of activity was shifted the COP debt, and what we've done is set up an escrow account with some of the bond proceeds, and that's going to continue to pay the COPs until they're eliminated. The debt picture is as of June 30, 2019. We haven't closed out this year's audit yet. The biggest thing is that we've added $9 million in Series B funding for the 2018 election. And as stated earlier, the district will no longer make debt service payments from the general fund account, which is helpful. Had we not done that in this environment, I don't even know where we would have found the money to take care of ourselves. But so I appreciate Tracy, the board, for your direction, everybody's hard work to get us. We dodged a pretty good one there. As far as our funding related statistics go, these are our attendance, enrollment, and unduplicated count projections. We are projecting right around the 95.5% attendance range. It's going to be interesting to see how these pan out, just because attendance is actually, I think we're in a I'm pretty sure we're in a hold harmless year anyway, but nevertheless, just for performance and forecasting future years, it's going to be interesting to see how effective we are at capturing attendance in hybrid models and things like that. So attendance is going to be something that we're always focused on it, but I think we're going to want to kind of rejuvenate the focus that we have on attendance, because we don't want to develop any bad habits in the hold harmless year that go on in year 2 and year 3 to really hurt us. So this is the year to really get our practices down, to work with our teams, our dropout prevention specialists, to make sure we're doing everything we can to capture attendance in this new environment. We're projecting continued enrollment declines. I think I projected about 1.5% a year, give or take. And then our unduplicated count's going to kind of go along with that. And, my message there is, the more effective that we are at collecting the data from the families in our community who attend our schools, the more likely we will see that number go up. And I believe our unduplicated count in this community is understated, and we leave a lot of funding on the table by not accurately capturing that. So that would be another thing I think would be helpful in this hold harmless year, is making sure we're doing what we can to capture the best data possible. I know we've gone to electronic enrollment, I think, and so that provides us an opportunity to put forms in there that would now be required, where normally they would just not turn them into us. Might be something to keep in mind. As far as revenue and expenditure projections, the top portion of the slide is revenue, the lighter color, yellowish, and then the orange portion of the slide is expenditures. And just to show continuity, the second column is third interim, third column is the current 2021 adopted budget, and then we have our 2 out years out there. You'll notice, again, that the federal revenues are way up next year, and it's just because they've come through, in a big way to support us with the COVID response funds. You can see a 10% cut projected to our LCAP or our LCFF funding at last year, or this current year. In 1920, we expect $31 million in LCAP or LCFF funding, and as of when we were, developing and getting ready to submit the budget, the number we were given was 27.85, so that's quite a significant cut. You can see the feds came in to save the day, but that's even a little bit problematic, because some of the federal funding, while we appreciate it, the biggest pot of it, the one that I was like 1.8 million or whatever, 1.5 million, it expires in like 6 months. So my concern is that, we don't knee-jerk rush out and just purchase a bunch of things that are going to end up on a shelf in several months. We want to be super strategic and methodical about how we spend this money. We need to spend it fast. No one's, disagreeing with that. But it makes me nervous, when I hear spending spree, because we end up with a lot of things we don't need. So we'll watch closely, taking in guidance from everywhere, to make sure that we spend that money in the most responsible way possible, and as much of it as we can before it expires. So that's that. The federal revenues, I think, are going to be the biggest things to watch right now in the next 6 months, to make sure that we're effectively doing that in terms of holding us accountable.
So are there some action items that might be covered under those one-time funds tonight?
Oh, yeah. I think your Renaissance is up there. We're doing our best to front load. Like the Renaissance Learning is one big one, I think, that's there. Is the Chromebook bid on there? Chromebook bid is on there. So I mean, we're attacking it. And so far so good. Renaissance is something we use every year. We were able to do a multi-year contract. We're saving money. I mean, so we're heading down the road, I think, in a very responsible way. I just, as we get going, it's just going to be important for us to not lose control over.
Just to confirm that, it would be that resource 5810, right?
There's a 50. There's yes, ma'am. There's 5810, and there's also 3210, I believe. It's split out in two resources.
Okay.
Yeah, 3210 and 5810, I believe, are the two. These are the deficit spending numbers. We are projecting for 2021 to be about 2.2 million in negative spending, 2.9 million in 21-22, and then 4.2 in the last year. We, of course, are going to work as hard as we can to outperform all of this. But as it sits right now, that's where we're at. And like I said, the last year is just super ugly. Encroachment programs. These are the programs that the general fund contributes to. Special education. Next year, we're projecting 3.1 million for 6,500 resource. 6510 is the preschool program. We're projecting about 110 for that. Routine restricted maintenance, it's mandated that we set aside 3% of our expenditures for that. So that we really can't help that number. We had resignations at JROTC, and so the projected contribution for that program right now is at 0 unless something changes. And transportation, altogether, we're going to be at like 1.2 million, just north of that, give or take. And so we want to continue. Special ed is probably the one that we want to keep an eye on. I think the closest there. Yeah. And then as far as ending fund balance projections go, we're projecting to end 2021 with 5.9 million, 2022 with about 3 million, and then 2023, we're just in the hole. By the time we plug in our inventories and our restricted balances and some of the assignments we have, we're just not going to make 2023. Which brings me to, I guess, my next point. It would be wise for the district within the next, ideally, month or so, 6 weeks, to maybe come and do like a study session or an advisory committee group or something to figure out what our budget priorities are going to be for the next couple years. I've developed a list. Before we found out that the COLA wasn't going to be negative, I had kind of sketched out about $2.5 million in cuts, but those were just me doing that on my own, and they're quite ugly, to be honest with you. And so I think if the budget doesn't materialize in a way that's positive for us, we're going to need to be able to pivot quickly and start, triggering those cuts. And so I think it's going to be important for the board to give us direction on where you would want us to start. And so that's where I'm saying maybe within the next 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, as soon as we can, sit down and start having some of these conversations so we can see where our priorities are. If the state budget kind of holds, I think we'll be okay minus the cash situation. But it wouldn't hurt us to have an idea of where your guys' priorities are on the off chance that we do have to make cuts. And then the last one is just showing estimated actuals. That's the green column. It's kind of how we're projecting to end the year. I'll be honest, I'm still hoping to outperform it a little bit better, but the year's done. It's over. Today was the last day. So I'm kind of curious to see how everything came out, but that's just where we're at right there. We're projecting to end the year with about $8.2 million in ending fund balance. And any questions or concerns on the budget? Well, I guess more so questions. I think we're all concerned. Yeah, we're all concerned. All good?
No, I think you answered them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great, thank you. All right. Hearing session closed at 6:49. Action items. N1, approval of grant award, Share Our Strength, No Kid Hungry grant. Call for a motion.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor? Any opposed? N2, approval of adopted budget 2020-2021. Call for a motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Dr. Guth still hear us? No? Okay, all right. All in favor? Any opposed? N3, approval of 2020-2021 Scale Academy East adopted budget. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N4, approval of COVID-19 operations written report for Palo Verde Unified. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N5, approval of COVID-19 operations written report for Scale Academy. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N6, approval of precautionary board resolution number 201920-34, declaring indefinite work year, salary compensation, and salary schedules due to state budget crisis. Call for a motion? Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N7, approval of CDWG quote LMCS 774 for the purchase of Chromebooks and management console licenses. Call for a motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
So can you say, repeat that, Dr. Guth, please?
What grades will those go to?
They'll go to part of our bank so that we can secure our one-to-one and allow students to bring Chromebooks home. So we're doing that district-wide.
Thank you.
So all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N8, approval of the Triad approach in Palo Verde Unified School District's learning options for the 2020-2021 school year. Call for a motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? N9, approval of 2020-2021 consultant agreement with Gail Martin Matthews. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N10, approval of a Celis proposal quote from the International Academy of Science.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N11, approval of AB 1200 for CSEA MOU. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N12, ratification memorandum of understanding with CSEA coronavirus COVID-19 effects. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N13, approval variable term waiver EC 44265.3. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N14, approval of new position, 1 budget analyst. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments?
I just had a comment, this is
Okay.
really not a new position, right? This was a position that existed in the past.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll speak quickly. It did exist in the past for actually a number of years. And I believe the person left about 6 months before I was hired. And just kind of going through the work of the job, I feel like it would be a huge support to have that position back in the office.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N15, approval of 2020-2021 Pac West Air Filtration Specialist Filter Replacement Agreement.
So moved.
Questions or
I just had one question. Do you know if this included installing the filters, or is just this the filters by themselves?
So this contract includes 2 filter swaps a year. They typically come like July, August, and then they'll come back again December.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N16, approval 2020-2021 renewal agreement with Aries Software for student information system support. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N17, ratification of 2020-2021 frontline education absence management. Call for a motion? Questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? N18, approval of 2020-2021 frontline time and attendance agreement. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Good. N19, approval of 2020-2021 Johnson Controls Fire Protection Service Agreement. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N20, approval of 2020-2021 consultant agreement with GDS Consulting. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? N21, approval of 3-year subscription renewal with Renaissance Learning Incorporated. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N22, approval of 2020-2021 consultant agreement with Palo Garcia. Call for a motion. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N23, approval of 2020-2021 consultant agreement with Glenda K. Smith. Call for a motion. All right. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N24, approval of 2020-2021 consultant agreement with Brett Robertson. Call for a motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N25, approval of 2020-2021 Fagan Friedman and Full Frost contract. Call for a motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N26, approval of 2020-2021 consultant agreement with Judy Elliott, PhD. Call for a motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N27, approval of modification number 1 to 2019-2020 contract number IN 50227, training assessment and consultation on functional behavioral assessments and student behavior plans with Riverside County Superintendent of Schools.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N28, approval of 2019-2020 contract number IN 50373, agreement for assistive technology services special education program with Riverside County Superintendent of Schools.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N29, second reading and approval board policies bylaw recommended for update December 2019 CSBA policy guide sheet.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N30, first reading and approval, minor revisions to VBE 9270, conflict of interest.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N31, first reading and approval, adoption of board policy 0470, COVID-19 mitigation plan.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N32, approval and adoption, textbook for agricultural biology classes at Palo Verde High School.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N33, appointments as alternative authorized agent for the district. Motion?
So moved.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N34, purchase orders, authorized signing agent. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N35, purchase orders, authorized signing agent up to $3,000.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N36, warrant orders and orders for salary payment, authorized signing agents.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? N37, district county checking accounts, authorized signing agents. Call for a motion?
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? N38, checking cash accounts, authorized signing agents. Questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? N39, notices of employment, authorized signing agents.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Discussion information items. Number 1, discussion of PVUSD Head Start site security. Want to speak to it?
So, we just wanted to recognize that we're doing a security project across our schools, and we are also looking at Head Start for their security needs as well. They, the work there at Head Start looks like we can do that work ourselves internally, and we're currently assessing to move forward to do the security work for Head Start. And so that's so as the work's being done and should end right when pretty close to when we're hoping that students are returning. The security project should be completed, and then we're in the meantime we're assessing the needs for the security project for Head Start. Now they have a later start of of September 8th, and so that allows us to look at and possibly do that work internally for our district. Is there any questions or comments about that?
That's great. All right. 02, first reading and discussion, board policies exhibit recommended for update March 2020 CSBA policy guide sheet. Questions or comments? 03, information, fourth quarter 2019-2020 Williams Uniform Complaint Report. All right. Other business. I'd say we need to go ahead and get a budget study session set up. So if we can work to get that set up, work with everybody's schedule, and get that on in the next couple of weeks, I would think, if that works for everybody.
I'm free on the 4th.
Okay, any future agenda items? All right, meeting adjourned. Next regular meeting, Tuesday, July 28th.